We're live. Jaren, we're live.
I know. But I
Okay,
have to let this anthem play for some time because
there's strikers, I think. We just stop it right.
Akshar Patel. I
I
mean, there
mean,
was some match. It was like how April just mentioned just before we began the live. It's like, "Aap le lo, nahi, aap le lo, nahi, aap le lo." It's almost as if they were playing hot potatoes with the 2 points. But finally, Delhi rose to it and took it up. I have with me a very happy Sandivani because you have to say that KKR did fight a losing battle for so long. They brought it very close, but then again, it's KKR who let it go as well. Sandeepan, your initial reactions because it's a day that Abel has won and you've lost. So how does it feel?
See, I won't put it that way. Abel has won. We have lost because we are in recent times we are being very consistent in winning hearts. That's all we are doing, coming close and just letting the game slip. But honestly, I mean, it is a very hard pill to swallow but I honestly I was expecting this sort of a day to come because you can't expect your batters to come in and day out and save your ship from a 28 for 3 or a 33 for 3 because this has been happening for a long time now. So yeah, you'll have occasional days, and it was surprising that they had an extra batter going in today. I mean, I won't call him a batter. That would be too much respect for somebody like of Mandeep Singh's caliber. But I don't know what they see in him. I would definitely urge the Kolkata.
that's a big,
No,
big thing.
I would honestly just urge the Kolkata management or just request the analytics team to at least give me or at least some of our of the fans an opportunity to see the training session because I don't know why they are so impressed by Mandeep Singh. What does he do in the nets that he gets a go? But yeah, not just Mandeep Singh. I think the way KKR batted, I think my school team or my college team both would have batted in a better manner and folding for 127. And I mean, with Delhi Capitals, you knew it was the worst team in the IPL right now, with no balance, nothing, no management. So they made a meal out of it. So I mean, I can't be happy about the cricket that was played. Okay, Varun Chakravarti, brilliant. Anukul Roy did redeem himself after that golden duck coming as an impact
Yeah.
substitute. And I think Nitish Rana, brilliant understanding by, I think I'll give the credit to Chandrakant Pandit because it was the strategic timeout and he came in. And Nitish Rana has always been the golden, I mean, the guy with the golden arm for KKR, comes in, chips in, becomes a partnership breaker. And I think KKR made a match out of it. Honestly, the way they batted in the first half, it was not even IPL standard the way they were batting. They needed to lose by 10 wickets with 7 overs to spare. But the way they pulled it back, I think once again the way I mean they have been winning hearts this season, so
Yeah.
that's what they did. But other than that, I think it was all in all a very below par game, if I can say.
Oh, I'll be honest, Nabil. I've seen better relegation level games in the Premier League. Such an odd game, wasn't it, Abel? It was a game which we felt should be over by 11:30, even though it started an
Yeah.
hour late. Remember, we were rushing our dinner, hoping we'll make it in time. And when you
Yeah.
came here, you saw a Test match final session from Delhi Capitals trying to save the match. It was the
Hmm.
oddest match ever. But let's try and break it down now. I
Hmm.
mean, where do you actually begin? We kind of knew this was going to happen, but a team which, I mean, we knew that Ramanala Gurbaz needed to be replaced because he wasn't giving the impetus that was required. Jason Roy was a very good pick. I still would say it was a very good pick. I know he did not have the best of innings, but then again, what do you do when everyone else is leaving, is just coming and leaving? You have to hold one end, and that's what he did
Yeah.
today. But Liton Das coming in, Jason Roy and Liton Das both coming in, and now you've decided to exclude the likes of Jagadishan. You've excluded the likes of the likes of Shardul Thakur, Lockie Ferguson. Shardul Thakur is not bald enough, so now you're probably bringing a batter in. So you think that as a bowler, Shardul Thakur is not getting enough chances. So probably the idea is to get a better batter in Mandeep Singh. But why so many changes? Why are KKR panicking in the same way Delhi did? We can understand why so many changes Delhi did because Delhi's
Hmm.
team was not working out, and then he had to try new people. But
Yeah.
why was so many changes made by KKR? This is something that is a story of last year and the year before that, isn't it? So
Yes.
nothing is changing. It seems like it.
Absolutely, Jaren. You have hit the nail right on its head because I did mention as well, off the camera, they have not improved from last season. I think Sandipani will also agree with me. Last season they had 8 different opening pairs, right? They had people like Aaron Finch, Anunkya Rahane, Sam Billings, and they had different opening pairs for every game, and that was their biggest downfall last season. We were extremely critical about it as to how they did not have stability, and I think they did not learn a thing or two from what went wrong for them last season. It's so important to have stability, and that's why I respect certain teams who have really come a long way, especially in terms of keeping that stability. Do not tinker a lot. Ultimately, what happens is you have been doing well. You've not been bad. And if you look at this year's points table, it's a middle muddle. I would like to say it, because there are a lot of teams stuck in a traffic jam. So you're just one win away from getting into top four. You're just one win away from really pushing. Now Delhi's just one win away from getting into top six. So can you just imagine that? So
Yeah.
that's how close this table has been. Now, if you look in hindsight of things, I think Kolkata Knight Riders really missed the trick in identifying who they really want as opening pairs. I was of the opinion that today Liton Das shouldn't be playing, because he is what a short-term replacement. He's going to be there for next 10 days for the next couple of games. That's it. So he's not a long-term option, and it's not worth investing in him at this point of stage. At least you should be investing in Neelakant and Jagadish and giving that long rope. Now, this is what disintegrates a team, right? Ultimately, if you talk about a lot of teams in the past history as well, when you try to tinker a lot with the playing 11, that disintegrates a team like no other. Now, you have to talk about Punjabs of the past, or like Delhi Capitals, RCBs of the past.
Punjab of
I've
today as
seen
well.
this
We'll
happen.
come to it definitely.
I've seen this happen, and that's why I didn't expect this from Chandrakant Pandit, especially to make a lot of changes. But I think Nitish Rana did a good job as a captain today. Whatever
Yeah.
you say,
Yeah.
bringing
Absolutely.
himself to ball was the greatest captaincy decision he made today, and I think he is Ashwin light, and he's too good, man. I mean, I love the way he's balling. I think he should ball more often. With Narayan, with Varun Chakravarti, I bet he learned a thing or two about carom balls, and he had two different kinds of carom balls today. And you have to thank
Yeah.
the two other mystery spinners. And I really want him to ball. If he really wants to shout an Indian team as well, if he keeps on balling, there's definitely a
No,
shout for him to
because
replace
that's a
Deepak
very
soon.
good point right there. I mean, a top order bat who can ball is a huge bonus for any team, and that's where I feel sometimes, or rather, I would say, a batting all rounder in a white ball format,
Yeah,
such an important player. Bowling all rounders are always great, nothing against them, but if you had to ask me as a coach, if I have to pick between a batting all rounder and a bowling all rounder, I'll
yeah,
always prefer a batting all rounder who can probably give me a wicket every 30 runs and score 40 runs or even
yeah.
35. I'm way okay with that if that's the kind of a bowler I want, because he gives me a lot of options
I'll
as
tell you
well.
one reason why, Jaren. I've seen this guy dismiss Virat Kohli and AB de Villiers in 1 over, right? And
Yes,
after that, he's not
yes.
balled out. I know he had an issue with the action some while ago, but he
Hmm.
has come out of it. He's bowling really well. And today he was bowling like Ravichandran Ashwin on that wicket. That action, that pause, that carom ball.
Yeah,
I mean, that was
yeah.
the best thing I've seen the entire IPL. He is the most underrated bowler who does not rate himself as a bowler. I think he should come into ball as an opening bowler for KKR. I think he can do a better job than Umesh Yadav at this point of stage. Ball 16
Yeah,
overs a spin, tie teams up, and I think KKR should send a message to Eden Gardens to prepare rank turners. I think they've got the ability to
yeah.
win matches and make that a den if they're going to prepare rank turners in Eden Gardens. And boy, I really wanted Nitish Rana to keep bowling. He
And I
won
think
my
that is
heart
the
like
only way for KKR to go right now, because with the pace attack that they have right now, they don't have any other option than to make it
But
anything other than a rank
interestingly,
turner.
I will have to ask this to you, Sandipani. Why did Umesh Yadav only get 1 over? I was speaking this to Abel as well. I felt in
Yeah, it was
today's
strange
match.
because he has a great matchup against both. He had a great matchup against
Yeah,
Devi. He has dismissed him 6 times in the IPL, and also against Prithvi Shaw. Also, he had a positive matchup
absolutely.
for him.
And I just
But I
felt,
think with
I
yeah,
always
I
felt,
think with too
Sandipani,
little
that
runs.
yeah, Sandipani, I always felt with 126 runs on the board, it was always going to be Delhi in under pressure, because Delhi is a team who is not able to chase or score with the bat. They've really struggled with the bat. So that's where I genuinely felt that KKR had gotten the upper hand after those three sixes, and I felt KKR could have attacked in the power play, because I knew Delhi would come out swinging in the power play, and the moment the power play went wrong for them, they would have some doubts in their head. So the only way KKR could have done well is to really destroy them in the power play. And I felt Umesh Yadav could have done that today's pitch. Something that I said last time as well when Delhi played Mumbai. If Ishant Sharma had been an impact player, he would have gotten a lot out of the pitch. Today they got that. Felt Umesh Yadav could have done a very similar job. What do you reckon,
Yeah, and
Sandeep?
I think Kulwan Khejrolia was a brainless call because they did not know what to do with him. Especially you bring him for 1 over. Okay, 126 runs were needed. I mean 20 overs. You did not have too many runs on the board to defend. So, but still, I mean, you could have had a Harshit Rana or a Vaibhav Arora, which I think
I
are
think
better
Suyash
bowlers.
Sharma would have been an ideal pick on this wicket.
But they wanted to get in a Shreyas Sharma, but since they lost 7 wickets, they
Yeah,
decided to go with Anukul Roy, just because
correct.
of the batting element. But I think added
Yeah,
nothing with the bat. So I think he did a brilliant job with the ball today, because
yeah.
I think it was that seventh over, the pressure that he built against Mitchell Marsh, that allowed, or I mean that probably prompted a Mitchell Marsh to take the attack on Nitish Rana, because that is when Delhi started to falter. And you always knew with the batting lineup that you have. I mean, after Phil Salt went, you had a Manish Pandey, Lalit Yadav, Akshar Patel, and Aman Khan. I don't really understand his selection in the team, but I mean that is not something that you can boast of. That middle order is nothing to boast about, and I think 60 runs were going to be a lot. If they could have got Warner a bit early, even
Yeah,
this match would
that's
have
where I
been
felt
different if
Delhi,
Khejrolia
because of
would
their,
have,
yeah,
yeah, if
because of the
Khejrolia
fact
would
that they've
have been.
struggled. Right? I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. Because of the fact that they've struggled, their only hope Delhi had was the top order with Mitchell Marsh, David Warner, Prithvi Shaw. Not even Prithvi Shaw, probably David Warner and Mitchell Marsh were the only hope they have had. Phil Salt is again coming in for the first time ever, and I don't think when he saw the pitch he would have been very thrilled about it anyway. So
Yeah.
your expectation was David Warner and Mitchell Marsh to do something. That's where I felt Umesh Yadav, you could have really used him as an aggressive option. Anyway, those runs could have flown because both the players were ready to go after. His first over he only went for 6 runs. Why not give him 3 overs?
Yeah, I
I mean,
think
I'll also agree with
bringing
that
in Russell
on
for
that
the
point.
third
You
over
know,
was completely unnecessary, because
yeah,
you
I
don't see
agree. But
Russell ball in
then
the
at the
power play.
same time, I don't think that was a smart option as well, because fast ballers were going for runs ultimately. So I don't really mind KKR doing it because they were able to make a match out of it because
But
of
I
bowling
mean, even
complete spin.
Ishant Sharma bowled 3 overs and
I
four
mean,
overs
look,
when he was
in the
away.
second innings, the pitch got more slower. So, there was nothing much which Umesh Yadav was offering as well. You could have tried, maybe it would have backfired, maybe they would have finished the match 1 over earlier. That's all I
Yeah.
would say. On this wicket,
But
I think
like
Nitish Rana did a
instead at
phenomenal job
least
not going to.
go ahead. I
Yeah,
mean, but
you
then,
go ahead.
then if that was the case, Abel, why give the over to Andrew Russell or Kushwan? I mean
That's what they
Kulwan.
I
all
mean,
ball
he
one
just
over
tried.
each. That's
Yeah,
it.
they
They
were.
all ball 1 over each.
Nitish
They
Rana
So
was
all
just
rather
ball
give
trying,
one
Umesh
looking
over.
at his
Yadav two in the
options.
power play, right?
Yeah,
Rather give
exactly
Umesh
my
Yadav two in
point,
the
right? They
power
all
play.
ball only 1 over each, and they found there was nothing for the fast ballers, so that's why they went to spinners. So I don't mind that captaincy call from Nitish Rana. That's not where you
And
lost the match. I don't know why are we pinpointing on KKR's bowling to lose this match. This was never
no, I
KKR's
mean we
match to
get to
win. They
everything.
made a match of it, is a
Of
good
course.
point. But
We will
No,
get
no,
to
no,
ultimately,
no,
the
no, no.
batting.
I won't take that, because I think with 15 needed of 14 deliveries, Lalit Yadav, you give him two opportunities, you miss a stumping of Lalit Yadav. I mean, that
Yeah,
is
so
where
that's my
exactly.
point, right? You made a
Jagdishan would have
match out
been
of
a
it by
better.
bowling spin, not by bowling fast bowlers.
Yeah,
You
yeah.
are telling me that Delhi Capitals would have been better off playing fast bowlers on this pitch? Absolutely, yes. They would have been much better off playing fast bowlers. Mitchell Marsh, David Warner, anybody would have played with fast bowlers better. So that's why they
Exactly. I mean,
wanted
Nitish
to.
Rana was just looking at his
Okay, I'll
options for
ask
the
you
first
another
3 overs,
question
and
then,
then he went to
guys.
the spinners.
You reckon? What do you reckon about someone like Venkatesh Iyer? You reckon he could have been a good bowler on this pitch then?
No, no, I don't think so. I really don't think so. This pitch was just for spinners. It was keeping very low. If you remember, one of the ball which hit David Warner's heel there. So I really thought
Yeah, yeah.
that's when it's going to be really tough for batters to get away from spin, because the ball was keeping low, and that's what spinners who can ball wicket to wicket comes even more handier, and spinners who can
Absolutely.
ball at a certain pace. And you saw Anukul Roy, Nitish Rana, and Sunil, and they all ball at pace in excess of 85 kilometers to 90 kilometers and 95 above. So that's where spinners were in much better position, because you saw with fast ballers, a lot of fast ballers did travel today until unless they were able to hit the deck on proper basis. Andre Nokia was an exception, and Ishant Sharma was just skill based, right? His skill is too good to be bowling here. He's home ground, and he knows Firoza
And I
Kotla
think the
more than
KKR
anybody else.
batters batted the way they batted, they just gave away their wickets. I
Yeah.
think they were batting
I mean, I
Absolutely,
have
I
to
agree with
looking like
this.
a
let's go
school
to the
team.
batting, right? Let's go to the batting side of it. Something last year around they've lost 35 wickets out of I think 35 wickets that they lost to the Pacers, which is more than half. I think it's 60 to 65% of their wickets they lost to fast bowling and to rather short deliveries from fast bowling. Now today you saw the likes of Mukesh Kumar, I mean Ishant Sharma and Andrik Nokia really troubled Kolkata Knight Riders. You reckon once again what we saw from them today was a lot of tentativeness because they end up playing 67 dot deliveries. You imagine you've played out of 20 overs, you've played 10 overs dots. You reckon I mean, that's huge, isn't it? And you reckon that's where the lack of even trying to take singles really stagnated that batting attack from Kolkata Knight Riders, and then really stood on the back foot and never really, tried to show any intent.
No, I don't think dot ball can be a measure over here, because once they lost their ninth wicket in the 14th over, Russell had to just take the most of the strike, and Varun Chakravarti was just saving his wicket from the other end.
But
So I think a lot of dot balls
even before
contributed to that.
Russell,
Yeah, I think
even before
the
Russell,
point you are making
you
is
had
6 overs of dot
yeah.
ball in the first 14 overs, and that has been KKR's template over the years. They are a boundary hitting side. I mean, they play 2-3 dot balls. They try to release the pressure with a boundary. It comes off on some of the shorter grounds, which is on some of the flatter decks. But today it did not come off. It was not bound to come off, and I think they were just really aggressive to start off with. And you spoke about fast bowlers picking up 40% of the wickets in the last 2 years. And I think also, if you just see the stats, I think in the power play, KKR has lost around 50% of their wickets. I think every game, 3 to 4 wickets they are losing in the power play itself. And then you have to rely completely on that middle order. So I think it's just that tentativeness. And also, they're not managing to score in excess of 7 runs or 8 runs per over. You will see KKR are losing 3 for 38, 3 for 40, 3 for 45 in the power play. So going at it too hard early on is not really impacting or affecting their game. And I think Jason Roy today was playing a matured innings. He was really struggling out there. He was really angry with himself for not timing the ball better, and he was really frustrated out there. And even you saw he was trying to get. But I think at that moment, if Jason Roy wouldn't have given away his wicket, it was Kuldeep Yadav's second last over, and they wouldn't have persisted with a Kuldeep Yadav unless
Sandeep,
he.
don't you also feel that when it comes to Jason Roy, the reason I won't blame him because it was a 15th over, and Kolkata are 19 for 93 for 6 at that point in time. Obviously, if there's one person who had to go after the bowling, it had to be Jason Roy. Jason Roy
But he was
had
he
to
was
take it
in
like to
he was
140.
in no touch whatsoever, and I feel with Shardul Thakur not being in the camp, even if they wanted to employ Anukul Roy, even if Anukul Roy was in the initial plans, because I don't see Anukul Roy in the initial plans. I obviously feel Suyash Sharma was the bowler to go to, and they went with them only. They went with Anukul only because they lost the seventh wicket early. So I think they could have
Yeah.
just preserved that seventh wicket till the 16th, 17th over, and they could have aimed at 140, 150 instead of trying at a 170. And I think this was not a 170 track. The
Yeah.
pitch was about to
Yeah,
slow down.
yeah.
This was a Kotla of a day four Kotla pitch. This was not a
Yeah,
T20
it
track,
definitely was.
and
I
it
think
was getting slower by the day. Yeah.
David Warner, when he must have gone out for toss, must have remembered how Ashwin and Jadeja tortured his team on this pitch. That's how rough, how brown it was. It just seemed like it was cooked, overcooked in the oven for some reason. It was just a odd pitch. Not a T20 pitch for sure, definitely. But even then, let's talk about
But
Delhi's
just
batting now.
pinpointing 1 second on Mandeep Singh's performance. I'm not sure what is his role in
Yeah.
the team. Not an opener, not a number 3 batter. Came in at number 5. I don't know what shot he went. I wouldn't have been so frustrated or angry at him if he wouldn't have got out in that way. The shot that he attempted to play of Akshar Patel, who generally bowls wicket to wicket at a good pace, he was trying to scoop him out of position when the team was 50. And I don't understand today. All the batters, they were trying to sweep and reverse sweep
Yeah,
for
I think
KKR
that's
has
where
been.
something. Yeah, Sandeep,
Yeah,
I think
has
that's
been
where
one
they
of the
went
major
wrong,
problems.
right? That's what I'm trying
Exactly.
to say as well.
Aaron Finch, Rinku
Instead of
Singh, all
trying
of
to,
the players tried to sweep, reverse sweep,
I
and
mean,
also this was the case with David Warner as well in the Delhi Capitals innings, because they
mhm.
were not able to read the bowlers. They were not able to read which way the ball was going to go, how slow the pitch was. So they were just trying to swipe it or reverse sweep it,
Yeah.
and it is not always the best option when you are unsure about the pace of the track. And I think that the way they went about it, it was completely horrible to see from a KKR standpoint. Delhi Capitals, obviously they had the match under control on 80% of the
So
situations.
that's one point that I want to ask as well. I mean, I think it's pretty much clear as well. I just felt like KKR today were looking for get out of jail free shots. Every shot they want to get a boundary, try to dominate ballers. That's where I felt If KKR had only taken a little bit more singles and doubles, put pressure on the bowlers, not give anything away, don't allow them to settle down, I think they would have ended up with a 150, which would have finished the game for sure.
And I also
But
agree with Abel with the fact that I think the team selection and the team management. I did not expect Chandrakant Pandit to, take completely change the balance of the team midway in the tournament, especially when they were going well. It was not that KKR were losing single-handedly one-sided matches. They were struggling with the ball, and what you do, you get out a you take out a Shardul Thakur, you get in a Mandeep Singh, you take out a Lockie Ferguson, you get in a Kulwant Khejrolia, and I don't know how that was supposed to help the bowling department. And also I think the exclusion of I don't know how far David Vizay would have impacted the game, but I think they are looking at the wrong sort of foreign players. I totally agree. You don't need both Jason Roy and Litan Das, especially because Litan Das is going to go away in another 10 days. 10 days. So it is pointless to make him play. Instead, you could have trusted a Jagdishan. He could have got more games and probably impacted some of the stumping and catches as well, because Litan Das is a iffy keeper, not a regular keeper for Bangladesh as well. So I
yeah,
mean,
and that's
it
why
was
I
it was a
felt
tactical blunder.
instead of someone like a Litan Das, David Vizay was the right player to go for. But then again, it's just such an odd thing. KK really shouldn't have panicked so much. They're not doing a bad job. That's where I'm so surprised. Even the Mumbai game, they're pretty close, right? They lost it in the power play, but otherwise, for 14 overs of, I think for 20 overs of Mumbai, their batting, they played very good cricket.
I think,
They
Jaren,
what
that's the
they
mode
did,
of panic, right? That is the exact
yeah.
reason of panic, because they are losing the game in the power play itself. You have your
But
pacers coming in, traveling for
I think
60,
that was
70
just one
runs
off,
in
isn't
the
it,
first six
Sandipani?
overs.
Where you had that kind of a power play where you tried everything and nothing worked out. Even matchups were reversed in that power play. You can't do anything about it. But Abel, I'll come to you. I mean, before I do, I have to point this out. Um, by the way, Mandeep Singh, right? He has batted from 1 to 7 in all positions in the IPL. And what the best part is, from 1 to 6, he's played more than 10 innings in every position. So you've tried him everywhere. Every IPL team has tried him everywhere. It's Kolkata, Punjab, Bangalore, Delhi. You've tried him everywhere. I think at this point in time, it's time you realize maybe there's a lot more for Mandeep Singh to learn, and maybe IPL is not somewhere he is at this point in time. But Abel, I'll come to you. Before I do, I'll take some comments about how Abel's fashion is being appreciated. Michael loves your pendant, Abel. He thinks it matches the lightning on the RCB jersey. Believe me, if I know Abel, he's already seen it, and that's the reason why he's wearing that pendant. Um, we will talk about King Kohli. We have to talk about RCB. I have to. Last question, Abel, from this game. Let's look at Delhi's batting, right? Once again, Delhi panicked, and for the right reasons. They brought in a Phil Salt. They brought in a lot of these players. They brought in Ishant Sharma, which I did say is a very good call on a Delhi pitch, which does seem to give something to the fast bowlers. Give him those first 4 overs and the first 10 overs and send him away. But he's going to give you a lot with a new ball. And it did work today. I felt it would have worked against Mumbai as well when they had played in Delhi the first time. But now, if you look at the batting able, once again, David Warner, who had a very good start. I just felt if David Warner had some support today, he would have finished the game by the 16th, 15th over. But again, Delhi having to, having players come in and leave, just not going their way, isn't it? The batting is just completely looked out of sorts. And they almost
Mhm.
gifted the game. They gift wrapped it and gave it to Kolkata Knight Riders once again. Just
Yeah.
like what they did with Mumbai.
I mean, I agree with you, man. I mean, to be very honest, what do I say? Delhi Capitals, they wanted a win ultimately, and especially when you're trying to hunt for that first win, these kind of things do keep happening. There's no self belief in the team, and self belief is such an important factor that it can play in both the ways. When you're high in self belief, it makes you get over the line from situations which you can't even imagine you can get over the line. And when you do not have self belief, when you're in winning position, it absolutely drags you down and it makes you lose matches from where you will end up losing. I mean, you have seen over the years some of the teams who have choked under pressure, and there are a lot of teams in IPL who have not really been there and done it. And there are teams who have been there and done it, and they pull off rabbit out of the hat and they be like, okay, we can win it from any position. So that's why I don't blame Delhi, and the pitch also was tough. So they really wanted that win, and they were really, really trembling towards the latter part to just get
Yeah.
over the line, and they'll be much better in the next game when they turn up with this win under their belt, because David Warner has shown some really good signs on a wicket like this. And also to add
Hmm.
to that, I personally think a lot of these players, Akshar Patel, I'm not sure about his injury, but he's definitely recovered after that injury. He looks to be running
He
pretty fine.
recovered in between an ad break.
Yeah, I've not
That's
seen
how
anybody do
amazing
that
he
in
was.
the history of sports. So that's some bit of magic spray or whatever he got. That's some magic, whatever he's taken it that just went in and he just started running like Usain Bolt there. So have to be fair to him for that. But ultimately, to be
Absolutely.
talking about KKR as well, I think this was a game where KKR also were less in self belief, is what I felt. Ultimately, if you look at things, they were just what 15 runs short. If you look in hindsight, 140 was par on this Filsha Kotla pitch, 145 ideally to speak of. So,
Hmm.
and I personally think the way in which KKR batted, I think they should have actually made one batter to bat throughout the innings, not to play reckless shots. And it should have ideally been someone like a Nitish Rana, because Nitish Rana is a home ground player. He's been the player who has played all his cricket in Firozshah Kotla. He knows the surface better than any other player, and he has faced toughest spin bowling here as well. So as a captain, it was upon Nitish Rana to really play the knock. And also maybe someone like a Rinku Singh as well. More than anyone, this was his home ground, and this was his opportunity to really make a statement. And if he would have played or given support to Jason Roy, I think they would have scored 150 at least, and they would have made a match out of it.
I think
So that,
they just miscalculated. I mean, they did not know what was a good total on this pitch,
exactly, yeah,
and then
yeah,
they tried to
Also,
get
I
to
genuinely
170 and
feel
then faltered.
yeah.
I just feel
They
Sandeep
left
Ali
that
Label, there was
space.
a point in time where they were not even looking to bat, they were just looking to survive. That's what
Yeah,
really hurt them. If they could have reduced that period, I can understand they were looking to survive. It was not, things were not going well for them, but they really went into a shell, not even trying to, take singles and doubles, rotate, strike. That's where I'm disappointed with the likes of Mandeep Singh, the likes of Nitish Rana, or the likes of Rinku Singh, where I genuinely felt. See, Narayan just came in there to smack, and Russell as well. But Rinku Singh, Mandeep Singh, and Nitish Rana are the three players. And Nitish Rana took responsibility as well in the press conference, right? He said he
yeah,
did throw away his wicket at the wrong time. I believe if these three had taken more singles and doubles, they would have ended up getting those 15, 20 runs that Abel spoke of. But
maybe.
Abel, let's talk about the one match that brought you joy today. Um, Royal Challengers Bangalore, given the day game, they have been really good. Today, we saw Virat Kohli captain this team. I think it's been what? It's been 600 days, 600, 700 days since Virat Kohli has led a team, and Rashidul Haq has also said it right here. This team under Virat Kohli, or rather, Virat Kohli, when he enjoys his cricket like he did today, it just energizes the whole team. It just seemed like there were 24 players on the team with RCB side. That's how much energy was buzzing. Every run out, every dot ball, every mistake by the batter was just celebrated by the RCB players. And that was huge, wasn't it? And Mohammad Siraj and Virat Kohli. Whenever Virat Kohli captains, I love watching this duo get into an act together. I mean, you remember the Bangladesh Test series as well, right? Where Liton Das, who tried to gesture something to Mohammad Siraj, got on the wrong end of things. You know how this great this duo can be. Now, what is your reaction to this, just purely as a fan? I know you love being an analyst here, being very neutral, as Shruti Sriram says, but I want to see the fan in you. How was your reaction to it? Because I loved it. I genuinely loved it.
Firstly, I was very worried about Faf du Plessis when he turned up for toss. I was like, oh my god, that's our 50 runs gone for today's match. I was super worried about it. Though I was happy to see Virat, but I was super worried on the other end of side. To start off with, that was my initial reaction. But then when he told in the toss, where he was very clear, he even revealed the impact substitute. He's the first ever captain to reveal an impact substitute in the toss itself. He was like, we're going to bring Vaishak in the second innings for Faf. So that was very clear. So that is a very Virat Kohli like thing to do as well. He's very transparent
Yeah.
in terms of giving the team away a day before and everything. So yeah, I loved it. I absolutely loved the moments. I mean, to be talking about on field when he took over the team as a captain on the field, I thought that it just gave me a lot of nostalgic feels of how Indian team used to perform in overseas conditions, especially when they were down and out, and Siraj bowling from one end, and his tactical calls, DRS, everything was spot on. I mean, look at the way in which he brought in
Yeah.
Manindo Asranga to take on Matthew
Great.
Short, and DRS calls, especially the Liam Livingston one, which a lot of people thought was going away. And the Virat Kohli, once again, he was on top of his game. And the buzz in the field, man, I have to admit, I've not
I
seen
would have
such a buzz.
loved to see this happen in Chinnaswamy, They wouldn't have won if it wasn't
I
Chinnaswamy.
think
But I would have
I
loved to
think
see
if
this play
Pap
out.
does not recover in time for next 3 days, it will happen in Chinnaswamy as well. And
Yeah.
crowd is gonna go mad. And I mean, internet broke today when Virat Kohli
It did,
changed the
it
captain.
did, it did.
And I was like, and I was pretty happy that he's captaining. And today you saw what this team can do. Whenever he captains, regardless of the result, one thing is for sure: the team is gonna fight.
Yeah.
He's the kind of captain who the 11 or 10 players will go out there to fight for him. And he's a commander, and he's like a general in an army, right? He's gonna really command that kind of thing
Yeah,
from you. He really
absolutely.
wants you to go out there
Absolutely.
and really buzz around, no matter if you lose, but you're gonna put the intensity on the field. And you saw that. You saw the way in which these guys were diving around, fielding, and especially that runouts. You have to say it rubs off, man. You have to say Virat Kohli, the
Yeah.
captain, the intensity he brings. Maybe his tactical astuteness can be questioned in multiple occasions, but he's got the experience, and his tactical astuteness has only grown over a period of time. And again, I go back to that point. You don't judge a captain based on performance in Chinnaswamy, because it's just unfair. And that's why I personally think. I mean, even for Team India, I personally felt. He was just an unlucky captain. If you look at the consistent runs we have had in overseas conditions, now if you look back in
I mean, we were
hindsight,
just talking about this off camera as
we
well,
took
isn't it?
everything for granted now where we are struggling in a lot of these series. So we took a lot of these things for granted: fitness,
Correct. Absolutely.
winning in overseas conditions, and
I mean,
and we
it's pretty much like, I mean, for those of you who watch football, if you remember when Lionel Messi had this huge discourse right at the Camp Nou, where he said, when we win the La Liga every year, you don't know how difficult it's going to be. And then in the
yeah,
next few years, as a Barca fan, again, sorry Abel, you've been on the rough end of things. You've seen how difficult it's been. So
yeah, it's
I mean, it's good to see the smile on your face. By the way, I mean, Shruti is right. I have to point this out for all the
I mean, let me,
trolling
let me,
that
let me tell you
people
one thing,
are
right?
doing.
As a fan, I would say for all, I mean, to be very honest, what went with Virat was just unjust in a lot of ways. We know the entire
Yeah,
media, a lot of these journalists on Twitter, it was a mafia which was against Virat Kohli. And I'm
yeah.
not afraid to point this out. It was a complete bunch of mafia from a certain state who was formed against Virat Kohli. I'm not going to say which state, which journalist, but you know what I'm talking about. You know where I'm going. But yeah, it was formed against Virat Kohli for everything what he was doing wrong. And they wanted Virat's head. And I remember when he announced his retirement from Test cricket, I lost interest, man. I'm not kidding. As a 15-year-old, to see what Virat has done for Team India, the people who used to go against him. I mean, you have to be not a cricket fan to say it. If entire world is praising him, you
Yeah,
as a country who is so desperate for ICC trophies, ICC trophies, it's not like after Virat just gave away the captaincy, we have won 3 ICC trophies or any cup for that matter. We have only lost more series than that. So and we've had more captains. We have had 10 captains since Virat left captaincy. So it's just been chaotic, and that's where sometimes I feel he was removed. He would have ideally been the right captain to captain in this year's ODI World Cup as well. But I really hope
I still
he
believe, I
captains
mean,
RCB
for
very
me,
soon.
I don't know how much hate I'll take for this, but Virat Kohli has been the best ever, all-time great Test captain. Huge
Yeah, yeah.
MSNE fan that
I
I
would
am.
say so. I would say so. Virat Kohli
Yeah,
is the greatest ever Test captain of this generation.
absolutely.
It comes right on top with
Yeah,
Steve Waugh,
yeah,
Ricky
yeah,
Ponting, and Virat Kohli and Clive Lloyd. It's right up
yeah,
there, man. He made this Test team
absolutely.
believe. And today we are in second WTC final because of this guy. And you saw it, right? You saw that in the intensity today. This guy is all about culture, intensity, and these are values which we don't respect.
I
And now we are
mean,
talking about fitness and
yeah.
everything. We've not seen so many injuries in Indian team before this. There was certain accountability and a certain way which people took granted about. People were talking about yo-yo test for granted. Cricket, you don't need yo-yo test, blah blah blah. Now suffer. That's all I'm gonna say.
But I'll take this point from Shruti Sriram as well. For whatever how much ever me and Sandhimani troll Abel, he's always been a gracious guy on camera. But off camera is very passionate, very passionate. But yeah, he does take criticism well. If you're saying what you're saying is right, if he doesn't have any facts against you, he'll take it. He'll take it lying down. But he'll ensure that he'll dish out as well whenever he has something to say.
I mean,
That's how he is.
yeah, I mean, hats off to Evan for not. That is the comment, right? You don't get overruled
Yeah,
with
yeah,
any
yeah.
defeat or win. But once again, I mean, with 15 years of expectation of RCB winning the trophy, I
I
think,
agree. I
and
agree. I agree.
after a certain point, a person becomes numb. So I think if KKR does not win an IPL trophy by 2029, I think I'll tone down a bit as well.
2029. It's
My
not so far away
God.
though.
I
Oh
have
my
to say one
god.
thing: Sandipani never lets go of opportunities like this, regardless of what the situation is. He's a guy who
I
seizes the
like that.
moment, unlike
That's what
KKR.
keeps us
Unlike
going,
KKR. Yeah, absolutely. But let's talk about RCB's game today. It was a very interesting way. I still felt, right? I still felt once again RCB did end up 15 runs short at least. I wouldn't blame Kohli for the way he played, or I mean, Kohli for the way he played, because it was a tough pitch to bat on. It was a very tough pitch to bat on, especially once the ball got older. And the ball got older very quickly as well. It was a very rough pitch, and some of my friends are in Mohali right now. They're saying it's as hot as 43 in the afternoon. So it makes sense why it was such a rough wicket. And some what Faf played today was just out of nowhere. I mean, it was just that's the reason why if you look at the innings that Faf played to such awe and respect, because it was something that he did was impossible. I think, to be very honest, if this is the way he was striking the ball, if he was playing in Chinnaswamy, wouldn't have been surprised if he was striking at 250. It was just pulling something out of the hat. It was very difficult to bat on the pitch. And we saw that when Punjab came on to bat, right? They struggled a lot, especially when they lost those initial wickets. But I'll get to you, Sandivani. Still, do you feel that today is, again, after the platform that was set, Kohli got out at 137, the 16th over. You still feel they could have been a little bit more further, maybe at 190, because they had a very good start.
Yeah, I think for sure. I think after the start that Virat Kohli and Faf du Plessis gave, Faf du Plessis performing at the IS Bindra in an IPL is not surprising. He had played three previous IPL games here, scored a half century in all three occasions, had an high score of I think somewhere in the 90s, not out. Had an average somewhere close to 72. So Faf du Plessis always loves playing at Mohali, and I think it was just okay. The wicket was a bit difficult. Conditions were way more difficult than what Faf du Plessis expects it to be in April and May at Mohali. 43 degrees batting in an afternoon game was not easy. If I would have been in the Punjab Kings side, I would have also rested like Shikhar Dhawan. But apart from that, I think after the start that RCB got, I think folding at 174 was a criminal act, and I think I won't blame Kohli. I won't blame Faf du Plessis because they are the ones setting you the platform. They are trying to accelerate after a certain point of time.
Yeah,
It
so
is
I
the
I think
duty
I
of
think
the
that's what
middle
I'd
order.
like to point out something which Virat Kohli told in post match and which really struck me as well. So he told me that during the post match how after seventh over they were able to adjust the pitch a little better where the pitch was getting extremely slow, and they decided
Yeah.
let's not hit, let's take the game deep as possible, because they knew anybody if they would have lost a wicket there, this would have been easily a 160, 150, and they were aiming for
Hmm.
185. And he did admit that they were 10 runs short as well ultimately, and that that is something which you can't avoid. But they were pretty content with 175 is what they told, and they really wanted to score 175 after the end of 7 overs, because they knew it was very tough for a new batter to come and score, because the pitch got really aggressive and pitch got really dry, there was no shot was coming, and that was very clearly seen as well. They were trying a lot, but nothing was really going off the square. And with Mohali, bigger boundaries, it's going to be extremely difficult for you to clear the boundary. And that's another thing. Also, what you saw was once the sun was off, once that extreme heat came down, once the wind started blowing, it became very easier to bat on as well when Jitesh Sharma was striking the ball. Until then, it was extremely tough. So it was a very interesting surface. I still thought RCB was 15 runs short. They should have aimed for 190. It comes down to them not again being tactically smart.
No, I think even it's
Hasaranga should be
also
batting at
because,
number 5 for this team.
yeah, I mean, correct. Oh, yeah, I mean, yeah, absolutely. I still believe they're a little insecure about that middle order, and that's where it's really hurting them, isn't
I
it?
mean,
Because they're
what's the
holding
point of
back.
being insecure about middle order when you're batting till number 10? I mean, come on, man. You
Precisely,
are one team, you can play that way.
I
yeah,
think
I feel Hasaranga
it's
is being
either a choice
underutilized.
of plenty. It's either a choice of
Yeah, it's a
plenty,
choice
or
of plenty,
secondly,
is what I
So
feel.
that's
or
why
They're
secondly, I think the middle order is not in the best of forms as well. All the you have
okay,
plenty of
fine.
choices.
no,
Okay,
but
fine. If those guys
Sandipani,
are not in
I'll
form, bring in
point out something,
Hasaranga.
right? Look at Chennai's batting, for instance. Now, Chennai's batting is also not full of superstars, right? But what Chennai does well is they're able to somehow figure out which batter to send when, and it doesn't always work for them. There are days when that particular batter eats up those deliveries, but they're ready to take those risks. That's where I believe RCB isn't taking those risks. For example, what Abel's saying about Banu Hasaranga is very much on point. I understand the guy might come in and get out on the first ball. Guy might even only face 3 deliveries, but there's a very good possibility he scored 10 on those 3 deliveries. Hits a six, hits a boundary, gets out. Those are 10 extra runs, regardless.
And that is
Yeah.
where I would want Hasranga to be batting at number 3 for this team. Not anywhere else, but number 3 for this team. And Suyesh Prabhudesai, use him, man. Today use Shahbaz Ahmed ahead of him when it was like last 1 hour. I really don't understand who's taking these calls, but someone who's taking this call should come and tell me and justify to me why are these decisions being made, because these are calls without any justification, without any rationale, and that's what really pisses me off as a fan. But as someone who really would want to, who is watching the game as well, will really feel very odd when you say Mahipal Lomrer, who's not the most accomplished finisher, for that matter, to be batting in the 17th over, when you have someone like a Suresh Prabhudesai who has done that job for Goa time and time again to come in these kind of situations and pull them out of the hole. And I think you should build him as a finisher. And Dinesh Karthik, I don't blame him. He did a decent job. Whatever he was trying to do, he was trying to clear the boundary and he was trying to
I'm
go
just
after it.
happy.
He
I'm
only
just
had
happy
5
Harshal
deliveries
Patel was not
and
promoted up the order, because I would have been
I mean,
really frustrated to see a Harshal Patel come up
ideally,
at number
I
5.
wouldn't have mind that actually. Harshal Patel should have actually come up the order for today's match. It was not a bad option. It was not a bad option to try someone like Harshal Patel at
but I
number
felt,
4. Maybe let's see
yeah, but that's what
how
I
it would have
felt,
gone.
right? With the kind of ballers that were being balled in the last few overs, the kind of balling that was being done, I just felt Vandu Hasaranga is much more suited. And you've tried
Exactly.
Harshal Patel, it did not work. Try Vandu Hasaranga in the same spot. I think they
I
shouldn't give
think
up on
Warindu
the idea,
Hasranga should be
but give up on
batting
the
in power
playing.
play for this team, or don't use him, or don't play him. I
Hmm.
mean, what is the point of not having? What is the point of having Warindu Hasranga for 10.75 crores?
And
Or
I'll tell you why.
Yuzuvendra Chahal last season, right? The only reason you let Yuzuvendra Chahal go for 8 crores and go for Warindu Hasranga at 10.75 was just because he was giving you extra bit with the bat. And he can give you that with the bat. And RCB is one team who has not used him as a batter. If he was with any other team, for that matter, even with the Rajasthan Royals, he would have been batting at the top of the order. And I personally think he should be the guy who should be used to bash the spin, maybe even ahead of a Maxwell. And this will give this team a lot more stability. When you have Mahindra Singh, Maxwell, and Dinesh Karthik at 3, 4, 5, occasions when you have good starts, that's going to give this team a lot more surety. Use Mahindra Singh, see how he goes. Then you take a call. If he's bad, okay, fine, bad. Let's write him off. But without giving a chance, if you're going to just sit there and feel like, oh my God, he's not, he can be me bat, he can show progress with the bat, use him. Utilization of resources is a basic in all corporates, in everywhere you work in a team
Yeah,
environment. Utilize your resources.
And I also think
absolutely.
today Punjab Kings were hit back with the loss of Dhawan, obviously, and also with Kagiso Rabada missing out as well. I think
Yes, I
Rabada
wanted to
against Punjab,
point this out
yeah,
because
Rabada has a impeccable
unfortunately,
record against Bangalore, yeah,
yeah, he
RCB.
has a very good record against Virat Kohli, Faf du Plessis, Dinesh Karthik, Glenn Maxwell. All the 4 batters you want to get out in the RCB team. Why didn't you play him? And I understand Nathan Ellis probably was right for the pitch, fair enough, but he went for runs
No, no,
regardless. He probably
I
went for the
think
same amount of runs Rabada would have gone, and he would have ended up with
of an
3
eagle.
more
I think
wickets.
there was some sort of an eagle. Otherwise, Rabada picked up 2 wickets in the last game.
Yeah.
Was replaced in this game, because I think he was a sure shot starter if he was completely fit. Because
I
if
agree.
he was completely fit and if he was left out, it was the biggest blunder, because he has an average of 12 or 13 against RCB. Has picked up numerous wickets. Many wickets against RCB, and Virat Kohli average is only 10 or 11 against him in T20s. So does Faf du Plessis as well. Both of them actually struggle against
Sandhimani, as far as I
Rabada.
know, Sam Curran has not given any justification in regards to Rabada
I
being missed
also
out. I
feel
think
it
he's
has to
happy
do a
with that.
lot with the pitch and the recent matchup with Virat Kohli and Nathan Ellis. That's one reason they got carried away. And I think Trevor Bellis usually
Yeah,
don't make the tactical blunders. So there must be a
so
niggle
that's my
also which
question
they're not
again,
aware of.
right? I felt in the very similar manner that Kolkata did today. Punjab is well panicked. They tried way too much when they don't have to. It's a system which has been working for them, and that's what
I
Virat Kohli
agree.
No,
also
I
but
said.
totally agree.
It's part of the.
but
That's what
I
Virat Kohli
still
said in the
don't
post
feel.
match as well, right?
I
Virat
still
said,
don't feel. Yeah, I still don't feel without a niggle. I don't feel that they would have taken such a big call of excluding Kagiso Rabada. Forget about keeping him as a substitute as well. I mean, he was just taken out of the side. So I think there are certainly some injury concerns, and this is going to be,
maybe,
grave for Punjab, because with I think
maybe.
Dhawan is going to miss a couple of
So, like, the
matches
reason I say that is
further.
because I'm looking at what he said at the toss, Sam Curran. He not said anything about Rabada being missed out because of an injury. And It's possible if that's the case. I hope that's the case because otherwise it's just a tactical blunder. Because they
Yeah,
just
I agree.
because RCB's first innings, the way they progress in that first innings, the first 14 overs is the reason why they won the game. Because
Yeah.
otherwise, I still believe if you can get Faf and Virat out early, it's not an easy thing to do. If you can get them early, this RCB team really struggles, and that's where the tactical miscalls really
But
affects
I
them
mean,
even
I
much
think that's about
even.
time we give credit to Faf and Virat, the opening duo as well. They have
Yeah.
really clicked together as a duo
I
after
think
a
I
long
think while you
time.
talk about this, Abel, let's take this question up from Shivani Gupta, right? Faf for CSK or Faf for RCB, which one is
I'd
better?
say
Now I'll
Faf
give
for
you a few things.
CSK. I'd say
I'll
Faf
tell
for
you a few
CSK. I'll
things.
tell you why. I'll tell you a reason why, right? Faf for
Go ahead.
CSK is iconic. Before that, I'll just put the points table as well for a lot of people to see
Hmm.
before we talk about anything else. So this is the points table which we'll keep on the screen, and I'll take that question up as we speak. Is it visible on the screen for you all as we speak? Yeah.
Yeah, I think maybe.
Yeah, it is visible,
Yeah,
right?
I think it's pretty
Yeah,
visible.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
It is visible.
Go ahead.
So I'll take the Faf for CSK or thing because Faf signed for CSK. Faf was bought for CSK before he made his international debut. Faf was bought
Yep.
by CSK in 2010 December, and Faf made his international debut in 2011 February. So before anybody of the world knew Faf du Plessis, you have to say CSK signed him. He's one icon. He's got some iconic memories with CSK. He just came to RCB, man. It's just a second year with RCB. Faf has played all his cricket in CSK. He has won them championships, one in 2011, one in 2018 with them, 2021 also with them. So
So I
three
think
titles
yeah.
with the team, and you have to say that is iconic as it
I
can
think
ever
that's where
get.
able Faf CSK was. I mean, Faf was is great for RCB, while CSK was great for Faf. If you know what I'm trying to say,
Yeah, I
CSK
understand. Yeah,
really gave him that confidence,
yeah,
built him up to a player, while RCB really needed him at that point in time, and that's where you also see right when you for CSK his records are a little undercooked because when he had initially come up, he had taken some time to adjust to India and IPL in
yeah.
itself. He's got an average of 34. He's got a strike rate of 131. Compare that to RCB, where he's playing as a complete player. His development is complete there. He has an average of 40 and a strike rate of 141. So he's really evolved into this player for RCB. And RCB needed a mature player like him. And that's why I think to forget the disappointment of 2016 onwards till 2020, you needed someone like Faf, with fresh mindset, with a history
I
that is
agree.
rich in IPL, and that effect is I mean visible on RCB. Also,
I
one thing
agree. I
that I
agree
like about
completely.
Faf is someone like Virat Kohli, the kind of aggression he has, he always needs a point to tether to, right? Like MS Dhoni and his calmness was something he tethered to. Or when in RCB, I mean, I would say someone like AB de Villiers and his calmness he tethered to. And now in this RCB team, his aggression is tethered to the likes of someone like Faf du Plessis. So it's always this, someone who's calm. Sometimes you've seen Virat Kohli does get a little carried away with his aggression or with the emotions that with the fact that he wears heart on his sleeves. Sometimes he does let go of a situation, but that's where I think someone like Faf has been so critical to this team. So I would really love to see how this duo goes together. And I think if Virat has to win a trophy, an IPL trophy, Faf is going to be very important for this team.
Yeah, very important. I agree with you because Faf has not done anything wrong as a captain so far as well. So
Yeah.
there's a lot of things to like about Faf du Plessis, the character, the batter, and now right now I think he's batting better than ever I've seen him because his game against spin has drastically gone up. The way in which his strike rate has gone up. I think this is the best Faf du Plessis I've seen as a batter. And that's really helped Virat Kohli, the batter, as well in this season's IPL. I mean, they both have scored a lot of runs. But before that, we have to talk about today's man of the match, which is Mohammad Siraj. I mean, what an
Yeah.
explosive spell
I
of
was just going
bowling.
to ask Sandhimani about that. Yeah. Go ahead. Go
Yeah,
ahead.
I mean, what an explosive spell of bowling. And orange cap and purple cap with RCB is a pleasant sight. But I think Mohammad Siraj's improvement as a white ball bowler, I mean, it's been exponential. We've spoken about it previously as well. How we really wanted to see Mohammad Siraj in the T20 World Cup, which did not take place, which did not happen eventually. But right now, you have to say Mohammad Siraj, the white ball bowler, is right up there as an all format great at this point. I mean, the best all format bowler in the world. If you talk about top three, you have to say Mohammad Siraj is there because from India right now, it is Mohammad Siraj because Bumrah is injured. And I'm really excited to see how Bumrah and Siraj goes
And
about it in the World
yeah.
Cup.
Sandeep, I'll come to that very same question. What do you think has really changed about Mohammad Siraj? One thing that I did notice is he's been bowling, the lengths that he's been bowling is a lot further up. He isn't banging the ball much short. Before he was really, not really getting any movement of the pitch. Now he's bowling that perfect good length delivery in the power plays. RCB is using him very well as well, not really saving up for the death. He's there using most of his overs in the power play. But even today, when he came back in the death, he took the most important wicket of Harpreet Singh Brar. And what a ball that was! That ball did reverse swing slightly, especially the one he took about Nathan Ellis. He was completely opened up like a Christmas gift. It was like done. And what do you think? I mean, today obviously the pitch was a little rough, so that's probably the reason why the ball reverse swung probably. But what do you think has really changed about Mohammad Siraj, the player from last year to this year?
Yeah, I think today it was the last stages of the game. It was ideal for swing ball bowlers to come in and uh, just pick up the chunks of the tailenders. I mean, it was just easy stuff for Siraj the way he has gone about it. And I think in the 6 games he has picked up 12 wickets. And I think apart from the game against KKR where he went for plenty in the death overs, he has done a fabulous job even in the death overs as well, because RCB has needed his support in the death overs in Josh Hazelwood's absence. And I think the way he has picked up the role, because when you think about Siraj in IPL, not great stats, right? So still a bowling average in excess of 30, and an economy in excess of 8.5, which is not ideal for an opening bowler. But to talk about what he used to do for RCB in the past, I think there is a lot more role clarity in how he needs to go about it. Wickets up front, wickets in the power play, bowl attacking lines, aggressive lines early on, and just come in and do your job in the death overs. And I think he has been bowling the Yorker pretty perfectly. He has been nailing the Yorkers towards the later half of the innings. And I think that when you can have that sort of consistency and you are in that sort of form, I think it becomes very difficult for opponents to sort of line you up or just play against you. And I think apart from one or two off days that he is bound to have in the 14 games that he plays, I think he'll continue his good run of form because he
I
needs
mean,
it.
when you talk about Mohammad Siraj, remember he's one of the retained players, and he decided to stay in RCB for a lower price. I bet if he was in the auction, he would have gone for at least of good 10 crore plus, because that's the kind of players we've seen in auction who go for plenty of
Yeah,
money in the recent past as
especially
well,
in
right? So
a pacer
I think
plays
you
for
have to
India.
give credit to someone like Mohammad Siraj for doing that. And there were a lot of flack on RCB's management, especially after the last season where he went for 10 runs per over in Mumbai leg of IPL. And, a lot of things were spoken against. Why didn't you retain Yuzvendra Chahal for that price and whatnot? But, when you talk about Mohammad Siraj's development, you have to say RCB's impact in his development has been immense. The way they have backed him, have seen everything of Mohammad Siraj, good times, bad times, possibly the worst times as well, and still to back him and to where he is today. I think it's just repayment of faith what the team has shown in him to right now what he has become, and that's a beautiful story in itself. And when you talk about some of the greatest players associated with the franchise, maybe 5 years down the line, you will talk about Mohammad Siraj and RCB as one of those stories, because we talk about Mumbai Indians and Bumrah. I think you have to talk about Mohammad Siraj and RCB in the same bracket, or if not in that in any other bracket, because I think that's just as good as any development of a player. We've often seen with other players as well, but then this is one development story which has been exponential. And also when you talk about Yuzvendra Chahal with the RCB as well. So these are the things which we don't talk about. We often give credit to other teams for developing other players, but then you have to say Mohammad Siraj, Yuzvendra Chahal. These players
Absolutely,
have
yeah.
really risen up under Virat Kohli,
And I
and
also think this RCB team will be highly tested in the next game at the Chinnaswamy, because Chahal is back at Chinnaswamy.
yeah,
It's RR
Rajasthan is
versus.
probably the one team that I feel, if they make Chinnaswamy their home, can be a
yeah,
very difficult team to beat at Chinnaswamy.
yeah.
They're
I
equipped.
agree
They're
totally.
equipped to the max to play at Chinnaswamy. But that's a story for another day. For
I mean, I
today,
agree,
that's the
because I'll tell you why. I just dread of any that match, especially because of the fact that you've got so many power hitters coming to Swami, and then, but it'll all come down to again Mohammad Siraj. If Mohammad Siraj can pick up wickets up front, 3 wickets, knock them down
yeah,
in the power play,
yeah,
then
yeah.
it's a different game. So it comes out to Mohammad Siraj again, but it's expect a run fest. But the only good part is it's a day game. So hope the pitch does not do a lot of stuff. Dew does not come into play at least. But man, with the Rajasthan Royals team and 50-meter boundaries, I have no idea what to expect.
Absolutely, but that's the story for another day. As I said, for now, this is pretty much it. A lot of traffic jam,
Yeah,
a
let's
lot
look
of
at the
log jam in
points
this
table
IPL
meanwhile.
table. Yeah, yeah. We just look at the IPL. The points table right now. Lot of log jam. I mean, it's pretty much like the Bangalore traffic at this point in time, or Mumbai traffic, or wherever traffic is what you can relate to. But RR and LSG fighting at the top for 8. Then you have CSK, Gujarat, Bangalore, Mumbai, and Punjab at 6 each. KKR and Sunrise at 4, and Delhi not far away actually. So if Delhi wins one more, and other teams really mess up, you never know. You never know. And at this
No,
point,
I mean Delhi are at this point they are just hoping for the season to get over, because I don't see them mounting a comeback or
but I
anything of
still
that
believe
sort.
Sanjay, it's a unfortunate thing for Delhi because all their batters are out of form at the same time. I think if they can all recover it, because we've seen this happen before, if they can recover of it, at least the Indian core can recover their form back. Things can start to change for this team. We saw that today. We saw that they have the bowling lineup. I think it's just their batting that's
And
letting
also
them.
I feel one thing for Delhi that cannot happen is Phil Salt, Rovman Powell, and Riley Russo jumping in and jumping out of the team for the
Yeah, I
fourth
agree.
place,
I
because
agree.
they'll have to fix it on one, and I think Riley Russo is their best bet going forward. But just because of the keeping dilemma, I think they're going on with Phil
But
Salt,
I don't know if
which is
Riley
not a bad
Russo.
option.
For me, I feel Riley Russo or Phil Salt is not a very good bet in that Delhi pitch because I believe Roman Powell can
Yeah,
still do a better job. So I think Delhi
uh,
pitch, maybe Roman Powell is a better player to pick.
Rovman Powell in recent times against leg spin has been a disaster, and I think by the time he picks up the length, he is already back to the pavilion.
I
So
mean, I think that's a
it's
different discussion altogether, which we
yeah.
shouldn't even be
Yeah.
talking right now.
But it's going to be very interesting to see how this table shapes up because too many teams stuck. As I said, it's like
I
Bangalore
mean, the
traffic,
good
and
part about
we'll
this
have to
table
wait.
as a neutral is if you're not a fan of any team, no team has been consistent, and that's the best part about this table. You see a lot of reds alongside the greens, right? There is no only green, green, green,
Also,
green.
Abel, if you
Here
look
we
at
on a
it,
run.
right, there's not
Momentum
a
is
lot of
halted at
difference
some
between the
stage.
net run rate as well, right? Not a lot of difference
Yeah,
between the net run rate. Even the teams that have
yeah.
gotten away with 8 points don't have huge net run rate. And even the
Now,
teams who struggled,
for example, if CSK lose tomorrow, for example,
yeah,
and Sunrisers win, there are going to be a lot of 9 teams stuck on 6, close to 8 teams stuck on
correct.
6, and that's crazy, right? A lot of
And
teams stuck on 6.
Jaren with his T-shirt has already shown us which team is supporting today.
Tomorrow.
Today,
All
I
right.
will be supporting. Today, I'll be, I mean, I'd rather not. But don't worry, Sandeep,
Yeah,
I'll be
today
changing my
already.
shirt.
But
I
yeah,
will be
but yeah,
changing
I'm
my
just trying to
shirt in
say
the
this,
right.
right? You might see new table toppers next week,
Yeah,
table toppers next week,
Yeah,
and
I
new
mean,
table
apart
toppers with
from
every
Mumbai
team.
Indians' sudden success and a 3-match winning streak, and KKR's 3-match losing streak, you don't have any sort of streaks in that form order, because
correct,
you have
correct.
a win and a loss.
Except for the Delhi as well, which got broken today. But then,
Yeah.
yeah, it was bound to
But that's a
happen.
good thing. That's a good thing. I personally think it'll come down to uh, 14 points being the cutoff for the season, and
Yeah.
net run rate is going to be once again in play. A
I
lot of
think
teams
net
will
run
be
rate is the
stuck in the
biggest,
middle
and
of.
that's where, as a CSK fan, I'm so worried because CSK loves close finishes. It just
Yeah, yeah.
loves close
So
finishes.
If
CSK
it
will be
comes
really
down to
hoping that
14,
they make most out of the home ground
if it
advantage today.
comes down to 14, then I think the one with the superior net run rate will go through, and only one out
Yeah,
of
that's,
the team
yeah.
scoring 14 will go through, because
That's the
I
thing
think
about net
16
run
should
rate
be
as
a
well,
cutoff.
isn't it? The thing about net run rate is if you keep winning, it doesn't go down. So that's what you have to do as a team. Keep
I
winning.
mean, this
Not
time
an
it's
easy thing to
so
do, but
hard to predict, except maybe for Rajasthan, who's been looking like a team who's been more settled. It's so hard to say this is the team who will finish on top 2. So
Yeah,
I
we'll
think
have
there'll
to
be a
wait for
complete
Chinnaswamy.
reversal
I
in
think
top
if
2.
RCB can pull off a win against RR at Chinnaswamy, I think suddenly RR will get toppled
Yeah,
in
yeah,
that vote.
exactly my point. So this is a
who are
very
LSG playing
tricky
next?
table.
LSG going to be playing Gujarat next, so that's going to be a very important, very interesting match. How that
Yeah,
goes, it's tomorrow, if I'm not wrong.
I think
It is
I'm a bet.
tomorrow.
I have my bet on GT to win that because
Yeah.
GT is too good a team to lose a couple of games in a trot,
And
and with
Hardik Pandya
Rajasthan
always
there.
gets the better of his best friend KL Rahul.
Yeah, so
Yeah, yeah,
I
yeah.
think GT will win that game. Where is the match played in Lucknow or Gujarat?
I
We
think
played in
Lucknow.
Lucknow. Played in
It's
Lucknow.
been Lucknow, so it's interesting. That pitch is weird. So if
But I think
Rashid
that
Khan
pitch
really comes to the,
will
I mean,
be
then
a
Rashid
very
Khan
good
is going
one
to be
to
very,
yeah.
very tricky to get away with. I think they'll play Sai Kishore as well. Then that's going to be a very interesting bowling lineup to reckon with.
Correct.
Yeah,
But
and
anyway,
don't you think Sai Kishore's exclusion from the start of the tournament has been a huge surprise? It has been a surprise for
Exactly,
yeah.
me,
which has been
because
for
the
me
way
at
he
least.
handed the way he ended last IPL trophy with that successful campaign, it was a surprise that he was not included. Having said that, I think you don't know what to expect at Lucknow. You might get a pitch where you find
I
difficult
think
to
Gujarat
score
will be
120.
forced to play him. They might still consider a Noor Ahmed, but they'll need three spinners the way the Lucknow pitches behave. So they'll need three spinners. And it's going to be interesting to see how that goes ahead against the likes of Lucknow as well, because Lucknow batters have really struggled in their home ground. So it's going to be interesting how that works out, but that's going to happen
And
tomorrow,
how Krunal
considering
goes against his
today
brother.
is Chennai's
I
match.
think if Gujarat win tomorrow, they go on top of GT. I think no, not really. It's tough because of net run rate, but I still think
So
they
if
have a chance.
Gujarat win, yeah, I think Gujarat if they win, it has to also it also depends on how good the net run rate is and also how
Yeah.
CSK performs tomorrow. Those are two important things. How it goes.
So yeah,
Then
CSK has a chance to go
Gujarat
number
wins.
2 if they win tomorrow.
Sunrisers Hyderabad is
Correct.
on Friday, and you have Gujarat versus Lucknow on Saturday. So I mean, it's tomorrow, as we say, but actually day after tomorrow. So
Tomorrow,
we
because
have,
today is CSK
yeah,
versus
yeah,
Sunrise. Remember that.
yeah.
Remember that. So that's pretty much it from us for today. It's been an hour. We spoke about a lot of things, and we will have a lot to speak about tomorrow because one of our favorite KL Rahul is coming up against Hardik Pandya. So we always have a lot to talk about KL Rahul. But that's pretty much it from us for today. And thank you so much, guys, for joining us. We'll be back again tomorrow. And before I leave you with the fact that on Boom 11, regardless of how the point table looks like, there are no losers, there are only winners. Remember that. There are only winners. So thank you so much, guys. Make sure
Absolutely.
you find it on Apple App Store and Google Play Store. And we'll be back tomorrow.
Good
Bye
night,
bye, guys.
guys.
Have a good time.